What's going on, guys? Nathan Lombardo here with Lambo Media, joined by special guest Blake Ebo. He was drafted in the 2016 MLB draft and will be headed to Palm Beach Atlantic University for next college season. Thank you for joining, Blake. How you doing?
Of course, man. I'm doing great. Can't complain. Life is good.
Good, man. So first of all, what have you been doing during this quarantine to stay in the best shape possible?
Basically, the biggest thing for me was just, eating well. We don't move as much as we usually do. And so just working out, staying ready, has been huge for me. Been hitting, doing some agility, lifting, sprinting and all that. So definitely been staying ready during the
That,
quarantine and all that. So
that's good that you're still able to get your work in.
yes, sir.
Where are you at right now?
Right now I'm in California, in Southern California, with one of my teammates, Everett, and also we have another kid from Tulane living with us, Braden, and yeah, we just kind of been getting after it every day. So it's been good. We can kind of hold each other accountable and just always work.
Yeah, that's sweet. Have you guys been facing live pitching at all or no?
So in the beginning of the quarantine, we had like live at bats or whatever, and then we got kicked off the field, so we couldn't do that anymore. But I'd say, what is it? Probably Monday and Friday, we go up to Escondido and his pitching coach Chris. I'll stand in for them, and I'll be able to see live pitching, but I can't swing it obviously. But yeah.
That's good that you're seeing live pitching at least.
Yep, big time.
Yeah. So you played exceptionally well in high school at Trenton Catholic, posting a 508 batting average. What was your approach at the dish that helped you the most in high school?
Man, shout out to my high school coach, Keith Naylor, man. He really changed my game around. He just made me like, I don't know, at first when I was hitting, like I just wasn't aggressive, and he kind of got me more aggressive, and I had trouble with breaking balls, and so then he just kind of every day after like practice, we'd work for like 2 to 3 hours, no joke, and just until like the sun went down, and just like mastering, being able to just stay inside the baseball, and so that I had more room for error, like, so that's kind of the main thing. That was my approach, just letting the ball get deep and just staying short to it. As a high schooler, you just want to make solid contact and just barrel up baseballs. That's what you want to do. So that was kind of the approach then.
That's good. That's huge that you have a college coach or a high school coach that you like when you're in high school.
Oh yeah, that was big time. That was a big part of my success, man. I owe everything to him. He's helped me to be like the man I am today, definitely with baseball and just as a person. So it's dope.
Good. Congrats on your high school career.
Thank you.
Of course. Have you noticed a major skill set difference in high school ball compared to college ball?
Oh, for sure. When I got to college, I went to, after I turned down the Blue Jays offer, I went to Indian River in Florida. And man, I could tell you when I first got down there, that was the biggest adjustment I've ever had to make. I remember seeing sliders that were just wipe out. Like I've never seen anything like that. And I was swinging right through them. And I was like, man, I got to make an adjustment. And it took me a while. I can't lie. It took me a long time. That was like one of my worst years ever. But it definitely like helped me grow as a player. You have to go through that to be able to get anywhere. You have to fail. So that was probably the biggest thing, was that college, high school to college transition, for sure, that first year.
What about the pitching velo? Was there a big difference of that or no?
Oh yeah. So like my freshman year, we faced I think his name was Nate Pearson, I want to say, and he was a first rounder out of Central Florida, and he was throwing 100. So coming from high school in New Jersey, when kids are throwing about 80, 85, and then sometimes 90, and then you see like some high nines, that at 18 years old, it's a little intimidating, but
Right.
it's whatever. Just had to compete.
Right. So that 508 batting average in high school led you guys to a conference championship in 2016. What about your guys' team differentiated you guys from the other teams that you guys faced in high school?
Man, to be honest, it was really just, ooh, I would say the team camaraderie. We were very close. We were a close knit team, and that's what helped more than anything. We were brothers, and I'm still in contact with them today. And I mean, I still think that's like the recipe to success, man. When you trust each other on that field, there's no better feeling. Like you just know, like that's your boy. He's got your back, and that's all the players on the field. So that's something that helps immensely for sure.
That's good. Would you guys just blow out every team, or were there some pretty solid teams that you guys were facing?
Oh, there was definitely some solid teams we faced. Gloucester Catholic, they were a really good one. I think they're still number one, if I'm correct. They were good, and there's a lot of good teams that gave us a run for our money, and it was a good year though, and did
Right.
well.
Yeah. Congrats on that season. That was a big season for you guys,
Thank
obviously.
you,
Of
thank you,
course.
appreciate it.
So you went on to get drafted in that 2016 MLB draft by the Blue Jays, like you mentioned earlier. What was the biggest thing for you to make that decision to play college ball before pro baseball?
I'd say the biggest decision was just, man, my area scout, Mike Alberts. Oh, sorry for this. But my area scout, Mike Alberts, he helped me a lot. Um, Going through the process, he was telling me, just make sure this is what you want to do. And I wanted to play pro baseball, but I also didn't know if I was ready.
Yeah.
I was kind of a late bloomer and was just finding out, like, oh, snap, I can kind of play. So I didn't want to just go straight to pro ball and then, have my career be cut short because, I wasn't as developed as the guys that were going into the system. Uh, you know, so that was kind of the biggest decision that went into it. But, shout out to my parents. They gave me full like permission to, make that decision on my own. So
Right.
that was pretty good of them too. But yeah.
What was your recruitment process like for college, and when did you really realize that you could play pro baseball?
I would say so. I committed to the University of Pacific, which is in actually out here in California, in high school, and then how that happened was they had invited me out to a camp, and I played on a Blue Jays scout team, and I did pretty well, and that's kind of what opened eyes. I got in front of scouts, and that was the first time I'd been in front of pro scouts, and they were kind of like, where did this kid come from, and then that kind of translated back on the East Coast. And then, next thing you know, I'm at a game and one of my teammates taps me and he's like, hey, like, there's a scout here for you. And I saw him and I knew exactly who it was. And I was like, wow. And then I did very well. And next game, there was more. And it kind of just built, the process for that was really different from college because I mean, for college, it's hard. It was hard to, get a school. Um, a lot of people had already committed real early. I didn't really know about the process, so I kind of got lucky. And Coach New and Coach Jackson over at University of the Pacific, who are now at Cal Berkeley now, they just trusted me and kind of gave me that first, opportunity. So that was really what I needed.
Right. Did you tend to get a lot of added pressure when scouts were watching you at your games?
See, there would always be in the back of my mind, like added
Yeah.
pressure, but I felt like I always was able to just be like, just be yourself, like, and just play. That was the biggest thing.
Right. At this point in time, are you happy that you decided to play college ball instead?
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. Definitely. You know, been through a lot of, obstacles and whatever, but I'm definitely blessed that I'm able to play college ball because I've met like lifelong friends that I would not trade it for anything. And obviously, I still have the chance to play professional baseball. So
Of
the way
course.
I see it is, I won in that perspective. Like, I definitely picked the right decision. So
Right. How did you initially find out that you had been selected in that 2016 MLB draft, and what were the emotions like for you and your family?
Um, the emotions were out of this world crazy. So I'm literally near my fireplace. My phone's charging. I'm going to plug it in, and as I plug it in, I'm getting a call. It says Mike Alberts, Blue Jays, and I picked it up, and he's like, "Hello," and he's like, "Hey Blake, congrats. We took you in the 28th round." He's like, enjoy it. Tell your family, and he's like, "I'll be in contact tomorrow with numbers, and we'll see if we can get this thing going." And that was that. And then I ran upstairs, told my dad, and dude, that was something that nobody could take away from me.
Yeah,
So
it's
that was
awesome.
an awesome moment.
Yeah, congrats on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And to wrap it up, you had the ability to play both outfield and first base. How much do you think that benefited your recruitment process for college as well as being selected in the draft?
Um, I mean, honestly, I think so. My freshman year, we kind of canned the whole like first base thing.
Okay.
I started to get more athletic and everything, and that really helped my game in other places. So I wasn't able to just play corners. I started playing center, and then I
Right.
just got faster, and then center started to become my main position.
Right.
And I mean, that's just, speed, what they say is like speed kills. And it definitely helps when you're able to, add that other threat of, if I get this hit, like I could be like, stretching it into a double or a triple. So that definitely is something that helps a lot when you're playing. So it's really good to be all well rounded.
Right. Did you play football in high school?
I did for a little bit. I stopped. But I think it was the right decision to stop playing football, but I do miss it, man. That was some fun times for
Yeah,
sure.
that's awesome. Do you think your athleticism in football transitioned over to baseball?
1,000%. I
Yeah.
probably should have kept playing for that reason, just because I like obviously I'm athletic now, but I probably could have been 50 times more athletic if I just kept playing football. But my workouts that I try to implement like football workouts, because I still know some of them. So I try to implement that in my workouts so that, my body stays fresh and ready to go. So it definitely helps.
Right. So Blake, that wraps up all my questions for this interview. I really thank you for your time. I wish you all the best and stay safe and healthy.
Heck yeah, man. I appreciate you. I like what you're doing. I wanted to point that out. I think it's dope that you're able to, reach out to, young athletes and kind of, or older athletes, but able to, get their story out there, man, at a young age. That's pretty cool. That's
Th-
awesome.
Thank
So
you,
shout
Blake.
out to you. No
Thank
doubt.
you. We'll for sure stay in touch.
Of course, of course.